All right, everyone, welcome back into another Prize Picks video. It is Flex Friday. Going to be touching on the top prop bets for you guys to use on your Flex Friday slip. Now, I do want to start off with just talking over some NBA news that we have, just because there's a plethora of news that we are getting, and I think we are getting some decent spots. Kind of like yesterday where, I was kind of thinking we were getting some pretty big edges on some props, and that ended up being true. Unfortunately, Vince Williams, his PRA did not get over yesterday, but his fantasy score crushed. So hopefully you guys were able to take advantage of the fantasy score prop like I mentioned, and you had yourself another good day. It's been a great run. Hopefully that continues again on this Friday. But I do want to start with the NBA news because, again, I think we might be getting some good edges. Now, first and foremost, guys, looking at it, we are getting some potential edges fantasy score-wise for Trey Jones, for Nick Richards. I agree with those. I think those are going to be good prop bets. Nick Richards is currently questionable, and that's something I do want to bring up as well. But let's go ahead and start out with the Spurs here. Now, the reason I think we might be getting an edge with the Spurs is that Wemby is going to be out tonight. And sure, Wemby might not have been playing a lot. He finally was starting to get up to like 27 minutes over the past few games. That is great. But we know he's a high usage rate player. And with him off the court, it's actually Keldon Johnson that really starts to go off. Now, the biggest question we have is how many minutes can we expect Keldon Johnson to get? That is the biggest question mark. We have no idea what Pop is going to do. Zach Collins is actually expected back as well, who's also a point per minute player. And they're going to be in a good matchup going against Charlotte. And I'll touch on Charlotte in a second here, but Keldon Johnson, his per 36 production is 22 points per 36, 6.6 rebounds, and 4 assists. And so we look at the lines that we're getting on him. To me, these are kind of strange. Like, again, like we can't maybe accurately project him to get 36 minutes, but even if he gets 30 minutes, I think that'd be ideal. He should be able to crush these. And the biggest question I have is, well, if it's not Keldon Johnson, who will it be? And to me, that's Zach Collins. Now, we're not getting any prop bets for Zach Collins just yet because he is still questionable. But to me, Zach Collins is someone that we should also be looking at today. Zach Collins per 36 production is 20.3 points, 9.4 rebounds, 4.7 assists, 1 block, 1 steal per 36. And so again, probably not going to get 36 minutes, probably going to get closer to 28, 29. But all in all, I think we're going to get some pretty good lines on those two players. Now, on the flip side of that game, Nick Richards is currently questionable, okay? This came out late last night, currently questionable, okay? They're already going to be without Mark Williams. They already are going to be without Gordon Hayward. And so if Nick Richards sits, Miles Bridges might actually shift into the 5. And going against the Spurs, that could be a good thing as well. And so with those three players off the court, Mark Williams, Gordon Hayward, Nick Richards, Miles Bridges averages 21.4 points, so another point, 7.9 rebounds, so about another rebound, and 2.4 assists, so a little bit less assists. But we got to factor in the fact that this is going to be a good matchup as well. And so the lines that we are getting on Miles Bridges, to me, seem to be a little bit too low. And heck, maybe we could even potentially look at fantasy score for him. Now, the biggest issue that I have with that is that with LaMelo Ball back, that has hurt his role a little bit. So we also need to look at what Miles Bridges has done with those three players off the court and LaMelo Ball on the court. Now, it's a very small sample size, but Miles Bridges' points go down to 17.3, 9.5 rebounds, 1.7 assists. He does average a block and a steal per 36. So what I'm looking at, again, if Nick Richards sits, we're probably looking at Miles Bridges to get over his rebound. Now, we did see that Nick Richards was a good over fantasy score prop bet. And so if he plays, I actually don't mind that. Again, good matchup. And he is someone that I do think benefits with LaMelo Ball being on the court. He actually has the second most minutes out of anyone, averages 15 points, 12 rebounds per 36, and averages 2 blocks. And I think that's why we're getting him at such a high number is the blocks. Typically not, averages about 2 turnovers. So, I mean, it's kind of tight. But if he's getting the rebounds, like 10.5 rebounds, if he's getting that many rebounds and 2 blocks, then he should be able to get this over. Again, it's much more of a matchup thing. But he has been someone that I think if the game stays close, like it's projected to, he should be able to get around 30 minutes and really have a good game. And so we just look at some of those props that I just mentioned. Keldon Johnson, we can see his PRA is about 51% for the over. All in all, I like that. I like that it's agreeing with me. I think we could bet the over then. That seems like a good bet. Then we take a peek at Nick Richards. Again, we saw his fantasy score was a good one for us. And we can see based off of his projected minutes of 28, he should be able to get the over. And so it's a little bit strange, right? His average minutes there is a little bit concerning, but as long as he gets 28 or so minutes, should be able to get the over, especially in this matchup. Again, if he doesn't, I like Miles Bridges. Take a peek at Miles Bridges. The data is not going to like him just yet. If Nick Richards is ruled out, I don't see his lines changing too much, and I think that could be a big edge for us. And then another big piece of news that we have, well, one, Siakam's going to be playing for the Pacers. That's kind of fun. We'll see kind of what that means. Maybe Halliburton's going to be back as well. Kind of interesting there for sure. But the big piece of news that we got is that Trae Young is is going to be out for Atlanta. And Atlanta already doesn't have the best matchup today going against Miami, so it's not like we would have been targeting them too much as is, but with Trae Young out, the usage and whatnot has to go somewhere. And I can already tell you, Twitter thinks DeJounte Murray is going to have over, I think it was like 6 assists, because they're looking at a game trend thing that is played out. Like, don't exactly love that. But looking at like his per 36 production, DeJounte Murray averages 30 points per 36 with Trae Young off the court, 7.2 rebounds per 36, 5.4 assists, has a usage rate of 30%, averages 48 fantasy points per 36. That's all great, right? But we got to remember, tougher matchup. And this is also with DeAndre Hunter off the court. I should mention that. We also got to factor in that Bogdanovic is going to be someone that we're looking at as well. He is someone that has been shooting the basketball well, kind of gets a better matchup. If we can get him gain 28 or so minutes, and he is the player that gets the most minutes on this squad with Trae Young off the court, okay? So he averages 18.2 points, so a slight bump there, 4.8 rebounds, again a slight bump there, and 5.2 assists per 36. We're probably not expecting him to get 36 minutes, probably closer to 28, but still, he's going to be someone that seemingly could be undervalued. So let's go and take a peek at those two props. And so yeah, looking at Murray, guys, I'm not saying this is wrong. If you are someone that likes this prop bet for DeJounte Murray and you want to run with it, by all means you can. Know that's a more difficult matchup, and know that the data says that he typically doesn't get the over in this sort of situation. He does get a higher usage rate, but the biggest increase that he gets is actually in the points. Averages 30 points per 36. Now, it's more difficult because he is going against Miami, but really, if you think he's going to get his over assist, this would probably be the best prop bet for you, is over his PRA, which is about a 51.5% chance to hit. That's not bad. And now we're not getting any Bogdanovic props just yet, but be on the lookout for that. You know, I kind of read you guys off the averages there for a reason, because I think there could be an edge. But from there, I have the whole board pulled up right now. We're not getting as many good edges as we would typically like. All of them are under a 54% likelihood to hit. That is not great. Again, I'm fine with Trey Jones. I'm fine with Nick Richards. I think Keldon Johnson's going to be a big edge for us. Potentially Zach Collins. We're not getting that prop just yet, unfortunately. Let's go and take a peek at college basketball now. So college basketball, we are seemingly getting some slight edges. We see Luis Rodriguez for under 29.5 fantasy points. That's decent. What I really want to call out here is some prop line differences that we are getting in the fantasy score props that we are getting. Again, we're not really getting that many big edges today on PrizePicks. It's Flex Friday. They're doing a good job. But I do want to call it that we are getting some lines where we could have some middling opportunities. Now, I have come to learn that Underdog is typically more aggressive college basketball-wise with their projections than PrizePicks. This is typically what happens, where the data on Underdog, at least, typically favors the under. But we can see here that EPS here, the average sportsbook line would have his total set at 26.6. Projection data would also say that Underdog has it set at 27.85. PrizePicks has it set at 25.5. So one of those are clearly wrong, right? Like, it is in the middle. The projection data says it should be in the middle, but they're both kind of wrong there. Here's another situation with that as well for Max here, basically the exact same thing. Now, I'm a Bucks fan, or I'm a Badgers fan. Well, Bucks fan as well, but I'm a Badgers fan as well. Got the hat on for you guys today. There we go. Steven Krall, I hate betting on the Badgers because you never know exactly which one is going to go off, but this is a decent prop line difference right now for it to be 2. So, you know, if you guys just want to maybe do a little bit of a middling opportunity, you could potentially do a flex slip on PrizePicks where we're betting the over for these 3, okay? And then you also run out the exact opposite of that on Underdog. If it hits on Underdog, great, right? Like, you're going to get the full payout. If it hits on PrizePicks, fine. It's going to be a profit for you. I don't mind that idea, but typically speaking, we're trying to take a full advantage of Flex Friday. So let's see if we're getting any other decent props at all elsewhere. Let's jump into the NHL. And so NHL, the ones that I kind of called out yesterday ended up being pretty good. So I actually don't mind this one. Again, where the projection data is saying that it should be at 2.5. It's a high likelihood that's going to be a push, but I'm kind of okay with that today. We're seeing that here with Johnny as well. I think those are 2 decent props. Joel Erickson's okay. But this is something that we're going to consistently see, I think, out of PrizePicks and Underdog, where we're not getting halves anymore. And what I mean by that is like 2.5, 1.5, 3.5 as prop lines anymore. Now, I do want to show you guys NFL as well. If you guys want to use this on your Flex Friday slip, you can do that as well. Now, guys, I'm going to take off receiving yards. I don't really like looking at that because it's a little different. And CMC, I just don't believe this projection for the average sportsbook line. I looked, it is correct right now. I'm assuming that they just don't have the total touchdowns completed, anytime touchdowns completed for him. Oh no, I'm not going to bet the under there for CMC in that matchup. But from there, Jawan Jennings we saw is a decent one. Dalton Schultz for under his fantasy score is decent. Wicks, I actually like the over there, but the projection data, the average sportsbook line is suggesting the under there. We can see CMC for under 4.5% receptions. That's a very good EV bet right now. That'd be a great bet to use on a Flex Friday slip. We're getting 2 for the Tampa Bay Bucks for over fantasy score. That's decent. We got Desmond King for over tackles and assists. That's another very good EV bet that we should make. We got Rice for under 6.5 receptions. Like, we are gaining a decent amount of NFL props right now, but chances are by the time I upload this video, those are all going to be gone as well. So guys, that is going to be all for the video. Showing you guys the bet slip first here for Flex Friday. You know, I'm running these 2 out just because they're decent. Again, Miles Bridges should be fine. Keldon Johnson, I like his PRA as well. Zach Collins is a bet I'm looking for as well, but as it sits right now, this is what I'm running out. Tyler Hero, DeJounte Murray, those were 2 that just popped in the cheat sheet, and I agree, like, they correlate pretty well. DeJounte Murray, again, averages 38 fantasy points per 36 with Trae Young and DeAndre Hunter off the court, so seemingly a pretty good edge there. But also, you gotta remember, they're playing Miami, a more difficult matchup, but all in all, seems like a pretty good edge. And then I went with the 2 hockey props. These have a chance to be a push. If you guys want to run out the 2 college basketball props or any of the NFL props that I just showed you guys, by all means, you can. This is what I'm rolling with right now. For what it's worth, though, with the 2 college basketball props, Max and then Epps, if you wanted to just toss in another prop with those 2 to do a flex slip and then just do those 2 as a bet on an underdog to kind of hedge, I don't hate that idea. Maybe you get lucky with the middling. But that is going to be all for today's video. Make sure to give a like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell as well. If you guys want access to the 9 to 5 cheat sheet, head on over to 9to5sports.com. It is available for just $10 a month for both PrizePicks and Underdog. Thanks for watching. That's going to be all for today's video. And as always, let's keep cash.